Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sheesh Racing League, Round 3, here in the streets of Hanoi, Vietnam. I'm going to be your broadcaster for today, Aiden Potty. Nice to meet you all. We are here in the qualifying laps, and so far nobody has set a time. So we are just going to watch BFG 82 for the moment. And see what he's up to. We still got some guys in the pits. The Kid 2, Wild Die, as well as Gunslinger are still all in the pits. Everybody else is out and trying to set a lap time. There's 15 minutes and 42 seconds to go in the qualifying time. And after that, we'll get right into the race. So, I am new to the F1 scene. I'm new to the racing scene in general. But I am not new to the broadcasting scene. So I will do my best as far as terminology and try to relate to the race. But as far as broadcasting etiquette, I should be all good. So stick with me, enjoy the stream, and for now, while these guys try and set a time, let's just listen to the cars for a second. Alrighty. As VFG just comes up to this right turn before he gets to the curves, let's just take a look at our races for today, at least so far. I don't know if more to join or not. If so, I will let you guys know. But as of right now, we have Cam underscore M15, who just set the best qualifying time at 1:37.4. Everybody else still has to set a time, so that may not stay there for very long, but we'll see. And as I say that, Lutzi tops him with 1:37.2 for the fastest time so far. And then BFG underscore 82, who we're watching currently, comes in with a 1:37.2, so he goes ahead of Cam M15, but he's still behind Lutzi. So those are three of our racers. We also have Gerbs J44, we have Slim Omnivore 53, we have Reed Likes Boys, the Kid 2 Ico, Wild Die 9, July 979, Gunslinger, and C. Burton 91. So 6 of our 11 here are set times, and right now July 979 is leading with a time of 1:37.4. So let's go take a look on what he's doing. And there's a yellow flag in Sector 1, but it just got lifted. So taking a peek now at July 979. He seems to be driving well. Into the chicane, cuts the track a little bit, twice. Not enough to invalidate his lap. It is only qualifying, so it's not a huge deal. Especially since he already has the fastest lap as it stands right now. There's been some yellow flags come up, maybe just people bumping the wall, just getting used to this track. And speaking of, I took a few laps on this track myself just yesterday, just to get a feel for it, just to know better the turns are like, how tight it is, how fast you should go, where you should brake. And I gotta say, it is a very tough track to race, especially for a beginner. Now, I'm not to say that any of these guys are beginners, I don't know. As I said, I'm new. However, this is a tough track, and I can imagine, even as a pro, it's a tough track, because you see July 979 there, invalidates his lap after he cuts it. And that's gonna happen, I feel like that's gonna happen a lot in qualifying lap, things like this, where you can invalidate. And I feel like it'll actually happen in the race a lot and gain people some time penalties, because it's a tight track and it's very easy to go off it accidentally and do that. And as I was saying, when I took my few laps yesterday just to get a feel for it, it took me about 20 tries just to get a lap with where I didn't invalidate myself by cutting the track or hitting a wall or something. And that's just how this track is. It's how it's designed. It's tight. It's a tight track. It's a shifty track, as you see here with Slim Omnivore. There's a little chicane. And there's two spots where you can catch, or 2 or 3 spots actually, where you can catch a lot of speed. And where you need to catch a lot of speed, it's going to save you time. That's where you're going to get the lead on people. But there are a lot of tight turns and sharp turns, as Slim Omnivore on the long straight is coming up to one now. There's a hairpin right there where you go from going probably in 8th gear, I would say, to almost a dead stop just to get around it. If you do it properly like you just did, you can get around it very easily. So, enough about Slim Omnivore. Let's go take a peek at Steve Burton 91. We just set the fastest lap with a time of 1:35.0. So we still have 3 racers that need to set a time for themselves. And those 3 are the Kid, 2, Wild Die, and Gunslinger. And 2 of those, Wild Die and Gunslinger, are still in the pits at the moment. But they do have 10 minutes to set a time, so there's not much of a rush. You see Steve Burton here cutting the track a bit. Maybe he's trying to get back to the pits and change some things up, I don't know. Maybe he's just having a little fun before the challenge starts, since he does have the quickest time so far. So once again, I'm going to be your broadcaster for today, Aiden Potty. We are here in the streets of Hanoi, Vietnam, with the Sheesh Racing League, round 3. Let's go back down to the track, take a listen to these cars. Ladies and gentlemen, I am back, just in time, as in 53 seconds the race will be underway. So in the meantime, I don't know, in the meantime, actually. Now I guess we can just go back and listen to the cars, and I'll come back and talk to you once the 30 seconds is up and we get into the race. So Wild Die retired. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know if he's just gonna go off early and wait for the race, or if he is out of here completely. But if that's the case, I really can't tell you why. Got 20 seconds here, and let's see if we can. Let's take a look at the teams right quick. For Mercedes, we have Luzzi and BFG. With BWT Racing Point, we have C. Burton and Reed Likes Boys. For Williams, we have Wild Die. And that's all I could catch as we are about to get underway into race 3 of the Sheesh Racing League. Alrighty. Here we go. This is just a formation lap. So, while our drivers do their thing, let's take a look at the grid. Sorry, I forgot what I was about to say. Let's take a look at the grid. So in P1 we have Lucy. Beside him in P2 is Seabird 91, who we see off the track there. In P3 we have Wild Die, and beside him in P4 the July 979. And Slim Omnivore just got disqualified. He must have overtaken somebody. So Slim Omnivore is out, so we're down to 10 guys. Back to the grid. P5, the Kid Eco. Beside him in P6 is BFG. In P7 we have the current leader, Cam M15. Beside him we have P8, Gunslinger. In P9 we have Reed Likes Boys. In P10 we would have had Slim Omnivore, but he has been disqualified. Not sure why. My only guess is that he overtook somebody, which you cannot do in a formation lap. So in P11 we have Gerbs, J44. So we're down to 10 guys. And the pack is just reaching that hairpin now. Or most of the pack, rather. I think there's a few up ahead and a few in behind. So let's just watch Lucy for now, as he's going to be leading to start the race off. So let's take a peek down on what he's doing. So he's currently coming into the S turns. We're just going to watch him for a second. Alrighty. A lot of the guys seem to be up at the beginning, doing their thing. The few that are a little bit back, Wild Die and Gunslinger. And I think they're the only two. They're just coming up to the grid. I believe everybody else is on the grid, except for Reed Likes Boys and Seabird 91. So they're way back. They're only coming up to the curves now. And to be honest, I'm not sure why that is. But I can take a guess. And it's not that they can hit the wall as Seaburton just did. But I can take a guess, and it's probably to make sure that at the beginning of the race, they have the warmest tires. So there is nothing really nice about what they're doing, but at the same time, it's not really any rule against it here in the Sheesh Racing League. And as long as they don't go under, I believe, 23 in around there, they're not going to get disqualified. So really, everybody could do what they're doing if they wanted to. Well, here we go. And Slim Omnivore isn't disqualified from the race. He's only disqualified from the formation lap, so his tires will be a bit cold. But July 979 looks like he may be retired. Maybe he wrecked already. I don't know, but it doesn't say DSQ by him or DNF, so I'm thinking that he might have retired. Maybe he just bailed out. I don't know. Regardless, let's take a peek in here at Seabird 91, who is our current leader. He's just coming around that hairpin now. He's going to be heading up to the curves. Everybody kind of falling in behind him. Nobody's too far back. Kind of in a pack at the moment. Cole has got a 0.9 second lead. on the kid. And if you go all the way, take a look all the way in the back with Lucy in P10. He is a full second behind Wild Die, but he's catching up now. Let's go back up to our leader, C. Burton. And let's pay attention to him. He's just coming around the checkered line. And he's obviously, as he's leading, sets the fastest lap with 1:43.6 with the BWT racing team. And he goes way off track. Way off track. Don't know. Doesn't seem like he's going to be penalized for it. He goes off again. Keeps doing that, he'll be penalized eventually, I'd imagine. But he's just going to keep on racing and doing his thing, as is everybody else, I guess. He's just coming around the chicane. And it's saying on the grid that he is P2. I'm not quite sure why that is. Maybe he did get penalized for that track cut and got a time penalty, I'm not really sure. But I believe he's still in first place. For some reason it's saying that Wild Die is, who is only coming out of the pits now, so I can't see that being the case. I really don't know. But there's also a penalty by his name. So I was correct, Seabert 91 is still in the lead. Maybe we just must have had the display error there. Apologies for that. But he's still doing well. So everybody's kind of in a group, except for if you look at the very back there, Wild Die is 5 seconds behind Slim Omnivore, who is 22.5 plus seconds behind Lucy, who's in P8. So there's a big spread there, down there toward the bottom. Top 3, even 4 guys aren't far off from each other. Maybe even 5 aren't far off from each other. There's a big spread in between them and the guys in the back, and I'm not sure why that is. I know Wild Die did go off to the pits there early. I don't know if he had some wing damage or what the cause was for that, but he did go off, so that's why he is a bit behind. As I say that, he goes back in the pits again, so he must be having some car troubles early on in the race, and if that's the case, that's not good. That doesn't spell out a very good race for him, if he has to be in the pits as often as he has been so far. He's going to have a lot of ground to make up in order to come even close to getting the podium. So, let's take a look at the standings. Right now, Cam M15 with the Red Bull Racing Team is in the lead with 35 points. Behind him is Gunslinger of the AlphaTauri with 31 points. And in third we have Reed Lights Boys of the BWT Racing Team with 25 points. So if I understand the point system correctly, if Gunslinger or Reed Lights Boys win this race and Cam M15 finishes far down enough, I believe either of them could potentially take the lead, but don't quote me on that. While we're at it, let's also take a look at the past race results. If we take a look at Australia, Cam M15 finished first, Gunslinger came second, and Slim Omnivore came in behind him third. Those made up the top 3. And then C. Burton Dunker, T-Rex, and Wild Die all DNF'd, and then Real Life's Boys got disqualified. So only 3 people finished, the top 3. If we go to take a look at Bahrain, which I believe was a better race for our drivers. Real Life's Boys came in first, with his teammate coming in behind him, C. Burton 91. And then in third, with Mercedes, was Luzzi, finishing third. So that was your podium for Bahrain. And then in fourth, we had Gunslinger with AlphaTauri, Cam M15 with Red Bull Racing, Wild Die with Williams, Dunker 864 with Red Bull Racing, and Slim Omnivore with McLaren. And that made up your 8 drivers, so nobody got DNF'd or DSQ'd, which is always good to see. Must have been a nice clean race. Of course, I wasn't there commentating for it, but now I am, and hopefully, if everything works out well, you'll be seeing me and hearing me, rather, every Saturday at 8:30 Eastern Time for Sheesh Racing League. So this race right here, we are in the streets of Hanoi, Vietnam, and after the race is over, later on, once the league owner, C. Burton 91, actually, our leader in the race so far, gets a chance, you will see the standings updated, and you will see the results for this race posted as well. And if you're wondering where I'm getting this information from and where I'm talking about as far as C. Burton posting the results, I'm talking about SheeshRacingLeague.com. If you want to head over there for more information, I encourage you to. They have the standings, they have race results, they have the rule book for their league, as well as plenty of other information for you to go take a look at and get a better understanding of what we do around here. So, we're in lap 6. Slim Omnivore DNF. He must have wrecked. July 979 has already been out for a while. So yeah, Slim Omnivore's out. Assuming he must have DNF'd, he must have wrecked, or somebody wrecked him, I don't know. I wasn't really watching what was going on there. We're paying attention to C. Burton at the moment, and he's coming up into Sector 2 where there's currently a yellow flag. So actually, we just saw Slim Omnivore there in a wall. He must have went in too fast. Didn't brake in time, maybe his brakes failed. And it looks like he just went head first into that wall. So by the looks of it, I don't think he got wrecked, but I can't say for sure, but it looks like it might have been a driver error, which if so, that is quite unfortunate for him. But the race goes on, and now Wild Die is in the last place, P9, and he is a full 25 seconds behind P8, Cam M15, the league leader at the moment. And I gotta say, his 2 pit stops very early probably didn't help that, but at the same time, I'm sure there was a reason for him to go into the pits. Still watching Cole now with the Couriers coming into the S-turns, still leading, has a 6-second lead on P2, so he is in a good spot. Now, one thing I gotta say with Cole is I have watched some races of this league. I watched both actually. I didn't announce them. And my main focus was on C. Burton 91, as well as Real Life's Boys with the BWT Racing Point team. And they are, as far as I'm concerned, the 2 best racers in the league. I know Cam M15 is leading right now as far as points, but just based off of how these guys race, the technicalities, their skill level, they are a step above the rest, really. And Gunslinger is quite the challenge there too, but C. Burton and Real Life's Boys, really it's unfair that they're on the same team, because they are just incredible. And I'll talk a little bit more about C. Burton here, since he is the leader and we're paying attention to him. He's a great racer, he's a clean racer, he brakes at the right time, he turns in the right spots, he goes to the pits when he needs to, doesn't hit the walls, he keeps it clean, with himself even. But the one thing I gotta say, his greatest downfall is when he's in leads like this, big leads, he gets too carried away. And he sometimes outdoes himself really. As you saw there, he went a little bit off the track. he gets kind of carried away, and he goes a little too fast into corners at times. Other times, he just brakes too late, sometimes even brakes too early. He just overcorrects a lot of the time, or I shouldn't say a lot of the time, but a lot of the time out of his errors, they seem to be spin outs, which the one thing I have to say with that is he can normally correct them and just stay right on track and keep going again, which is a great quality to have. But he's got to calm it down in times like this where he's got a big lead. He's just got to keep himself composed, keep the same confidence he went into the race with, but don't get too confident. And if he can do that, which he has done so far in this race, you will see him in that first spot a lot more often than you have with these last few races. So Gervs just went into the pits, and he's currently dropping position. And if Wild Die is lucky, maybe he can catch up. So it gives him a chance to get back toward a little bit closer to the pack, or at least closer to Gervs. Give him somebody to race with, because right now he's just kind of all the way back there on his own. And no, Gervs comes right back on the track after the pits, and Wild Eye is still behind. He's catching up a lot, but he's still 10.5 seconds, 11.5 seconds behind Gervs. So he is way out there. He's going to make up a lot of ground. He's going to hope some guys make some errors, hope some other guys go to the pits, because really, that's the only way that he even has a chance of getting back in this race. He didn't have a good start. I don't know why, or I don't know what happened, but he had to make 2 pit stops early on, and that's just kind of put him out of the competition as of right now. So, taking a look at where everybody is, see Burton in first, 6 seconds ahead of the kid Iko, who was in second, and then 11 seconds behind him is Lucy. And then you have Gunslinger following up, only 2 seconds behind in fourth. And as I say that, he catches up to Lucy and takes third, catches up to the kid and takes second. And that's because the kid and Lucy both went to the pit. So now Gunslinger is in second, but he's still a full 19 seconds behind C. Burton. So there's a big spread. Nobody's really in a group. Everyone's kind of off on their own. C. Burton's way ahead, Wild Die is way behind. And then everybody else is kind of off on their own, just behind each other. You see Cameron 15 there. Was 20 seconds behind Lucy, but he caught up due to Lucy being in the pits and still being in the pits. But, yeah, there's a big spread. It's not very, really, if you want to think of it, it's not overly competitive racing at the moment, because everybody's just kind of on their own. They're not really worried about getting hit or hitting anybody else. They can just kind of do their own thing, but they also, unless you're C. Burton, they also have to pick up the pace and catch up a bit. There's a yellow flag on Sector 2. I don't know what's going on. I don't see anybody dropping in the standings or any notifications of them wrecking. So I'm not sure what the yellow flag is for, but something happened back there. And with a big 20-second lead in lap 9, C. Burton decides it's a good time to go to the pit stop. So let's take a look down on Gunslinger, who is in second, and potentially he's going to be in first if he can get past C. Burton in time before he's out of the pits. We're taking a look at Gunslinger now. He's coming up to that left, and then that other left there, like, it's going to bring him to the checkered flag, and he is going, and he isn't slowing down, and C. Burton is just coming out of the pits, but I don't know if he's going to be out quite in time to pick up enough speed to stay ahead of Gunslinger. We will see. And no, he does. He timed it very well, and he's out of the pits with a 2-second gap on Gunslinger. So, as I was saying, C-Bird 91 knows his stuff. He knows how to race. But like I said, Gunslinger does too, and that's why he's in second. And as I was saying, Relax Boys, who is probably the second best racer in the league, is in third. So just like that, the 3 guys I mentioned are in the top 3. And you're going to see that almost every race, as long as these guys keep themselves clean. and don't get too overconfident. So it looks like when Seaburton went in there for the pit, he decided to put on some medium tires. He had the softs on before, and a lot of guys do this. The softs give you a lot more grip when it's dry. It gives you a lot more grip, so you can go a lot quicker. But they also, that being said, they also burn up a lot quicker and lose their tread a lot quicker. So they're not as efficient in time as the harder tires are, like mediums or hard. So a lot of guys will do a soft, medium, soft, where they'll put on their softs they had on the qualifying. They'll leave those on going into the race. And about midway through, quarter of the way through, they'll switch to mediums and they'll basically leave those on as long as they can, wear them out, put them to good use, and then in crunch time toward the end, they'll go back and put a better pair of softs on just to give them that final push so that they can hopefully keep their position or even gain position for the end of the race. So I've been doing a whole lot of talking as we're in lap 11 here out of 28. So let's just take a listen to these cars. Alrighty, hope you enjoyed that. We're back here in the streets of Hanoi, Vietnam, with the Sheesh Racing League, Race 3, Round 3, whatever you want to say. Leading is Seaburton 91, 9 seconds ahead of P2 Gunslinger, who is 13 seconds ahead of P3, Reed Likes Boys, so it's a penalty by name at the moment. And, taking a look down to P8, Wild Die 9 is back in the pits yet again. And I can't tell you, I really cannot tell you what he is doing. I hope that it's car issues, because if it's not, this is just, yeah, that's just bad strategy. I kind of feel bad for saying that, but I mean, it's a league race. There's not really room to mess around. I don't know if he is just going to the pits to switch things up that aren't overly important, and I don't know why he's here for this race if he's just going to be doing that. He's just hurting himself, hurting his team, doing stuff like that, and he's now got a penalty by his name. I really can't tell you what's going on with him. Let's go take a look down and see perhaps what's going on. We switch cameras up here. I know we just got out of the pits, but I don't see anything wrong with the car as far as cosmetically on the outside. Nothing wrong with either the front or rear wing. His tires look fine, and unless there's some internal issues or issues that have been fixed, I'm not quite sure what his strategy is this race. Regardless, enough about him. Let's go back to our leader, Seaburton 91, who is having an incredible race. part of the BWT Racing Point team. His teammate Relux Boys in P3, who it appears, go take a look, it appears him and Lucy are in a battle right now as Lucy passed Reed, Reed passed Lucy, and now Reed passes Gunslinger to take second. So the two BWT Racing Point boys are in second place. In first place, first being Seaburton 91, who is a full 25 seconds ahead of his teammate Reed Likes Boys. But Lucy and Gunslinger are close behind Reed, and brakes well, turns well, and then it's getting competitive back here at P2, 3, and 4. Gunslinger maintaining third, Reed maintaining second, and Lucy maintaining fourth. Take a look at Lucy's street. He's close behind Gunslinger, who is close behind Reed, but Reed's gaining on him. But Lucy is tight on Gunslinger's behind. He's right behind him trying to get the draft, and as I say that, Gunslinger and Lucy both go into the pits, which is going to give Reed Likes Boys lots of time to get a big gap on them. So, as I said, the two BWT Racing Point drivers are in first and second. Seaburton 91 and Reed Likes Boys. And as I was saying earlier, these guys are on the same team. They're two of the best, if not the best, racers in the league. And the fact that they're on the same team is unfair to the other team, really. The other teams, rather. Because they are very good racers. Their knowledge of their tracks they race on are extensive. They know how and when to go to the pits, what tires to change, what tires to use at the right times, what lap to take their pit on. They just know it all, and it is a huge reason why they're as good as they are. So with the other two going into the pits, Gunslinger and Lucy, they lost a lot of room. I don't know how to word it, but they lost a lot of ground, and they are now in 6th and 7th rather than being in 3rd and 4th. So right now you're seeing the TV pod of the kid, who is close behind Reed Likes Boys, as he took 3rd place, and then behind him is BFG, but he has got an 11-second lead on him. And then our league points leader so far, Cameron 15, is over in 5th, 5 seconds behind BFG. So let's just watch the kid for a moment, as he and Reed are into some competitive racing. Seaburton's way up there on his own. Reed's just enjoying himself, but he's got to be careful because the kid is right behind him. So, let's just watch to see how this unfolds for a moment, and take a listen to these cars. So taking a look back to the TV pod of the kid, as Reed and the kid enter lap 16, they maintain their positions at P3 and P2. And the fastest lap just now goes to Gunslinger, and the AlphaTauri team with a 138. I didn't quite catch the milliseconds, but that's not quite important. There was a 138 point something. I think it was .0, maybe .5. Regardless, he sets the fastest lap and is currently in 5th place. And he is... If we take a look at him, it looks like, based off his time, it looks like he's about to be in 4th place if he can race well and if he can outrace BFG. And... okay, our leader, Steve Burton, just left the session, it says. I don't know what that's talking about. Looks like he's still here to me. I really don't know what that... Yeah, I'm not sure. He is still here and still winning. Don't know what that was all about. Well, as you go back to Gunslinger, we see that he has passed BFG. But BFG is still hot on his tail. As they're into the chicane now. Or, sorry, wrong spot. They're entering the curves, rather. And then into the S-turns. And, man, you can really see Gunslinger taking off from BFG's point of view. And you just see him. He just went around those curves and those S-turns so well. You could just see how smoothly he turned. And yeah, he is a very good driver. Let's go take a look back at our leader, Cole Burton. Just still has a large lead on his teammate Relix Boys. And if we take a look at him and the kid is still fairly close to Reed. And then they're entering the chicane, and they both take it well. So yeah, they're in a tight spot right now, both racing each other, and Reed seems to have the advantage that he is maintaining his lead. But the kid is not letting him get too far. So Wild Die, still in P9 and is back in the pits again. And he is just not having a good time, it seems. And, oh, we have an overtake. The kid passes Reed. So now the kid is in 2nd and Reed is in 3rd. But Steve Burton is still far in 1st. So I didn't quite see what happened there. We were watching Cole, but the kid passes Reed, and Reed takes that opportunity to go to the pits. He figures, well, I already lost my position, might as well head off. And so he does. The Reed's in the pits, Wild Die's in the pits. The kid's in 2nd behind Cole Burton. But he's gaining on Cole, it seems like. 20 seconds behind. Reed's still in the pits, so Gunslinger passes, so now Gunslinger's going to be in 3rd. BFG passes Reed as he is still in the pits, so Relix Boys drops all the way down to P5. Maybe dropping down to P6, Indeed, and P7. So he is losing a lot of ground there. And as I say that, he's out of the pits and jumps back up to P5. But he's 8 seconds behind BFG. So the top 3 racers so far are C. Burton 91 in 1st, the 21-second gap on the kid, who was in P2. And behind him is Gunslinger, who's 10-second deficit compared to the kid. Relux Boys still in 5th, trying to catch up to BFG, but he's still 6 seconds behind him. And he's also still got a penalty by his name. And I'm not sure how that is. He just was in the pits. I think he would have served it. Maybe it wasn't a time penalty. I don't know. So here we are in lap 19. Only 7 more laps to go here in Hanoi, Vietnam. Race 3 of the Sheesh Racing League. Well, let's change it up a bit. We've been watching C. Burton a lot, and nothing much going on there. He's entering the chicane, kind of driving how he has been all race, and keeping himself in 1st. Let's take a look at Wild Eye, who's way in back there. Gers way ahead of him, but still way behind Cam. And then Cam and Lucy are, looks like they're fighting for P6. Lucy has it as of now, but Cam is close behind. And they're both coming up into turn 1 and 2. Both of them take it well, meaning Lucy stays in 6, not 7. And let's go take a peek up to Reed Likes Boys, who was caught up to VFG. He's made up a lot of ground. He's close behind him now, only less than 1 second behind. But as I say that, they enter the long stretch, the long straight, and they're both going to take off and gain a lot of speed. But Reed has his soft tires on, and he's actually gaining on VFG. He's close now. He's getting the draft, and they're just getting to the hairpin. He brakes well, he turns well, and wow, what an undercut that was to get himself into P4. And I gotta say, that was incredible from Reed Likes Boys. So now switch of position. Reed is in P4, BFG close behind him in P5. And as I say close behind him, Reed is gonna keep doing what he does and gain. And BFG goes off into the pits, and as he does, he gets a 5-second penalty because he cut off a little too early. Go back down onto Lucy and Cam. And as I do that, Cam enters the pits. Lucy's going to pass him. And he's going to pass BFG to get in P5. So, I'm not sure what happened, but somehow the kid has passed C. Burton. And C. Burton is in second, but only 1 second behind. And what I'm thinking happened, based off of C. Burton's tires, he now has soft on. So I'm thinking he went off for the pits to get that final stop, make sure he's all gassed up, and he's got his final soft tires on so he can get a lot of grip. And he is gaining on the kid in the long straight. And he is going to brake well. Kid is going to brake well. They take that hairpin equally. So the kid's going to maintain that first position. So we finally have some competitive racing going on with the top two, with the kid and C. Burton. So let's watch C. Burton's point of view, as he is the one in behind. So we can see what the kid's doing, and we can see what C. Burton's doing. And C. Burton is gaining on the kid. He's taking a turn with his braking well. Kid being cautious, because he knows who's behind him, and he knows what can happen. And as I say that, oh, almost, but couldn't get enough speed. C. Burton tried for the undercut, couldn't get it. So he's going to stay in second for now. Lap 21. Going into turn 1 and turn 2. Yellow flag on sector 3. That's at the beginning of the curves for those of you at home. And oh baby, and we see it again. A beautiful undercut, this time from C. Burton 91, but again of the BWT Racing Point team. So C. Burton says, "Thank you very much. I'll take what's rightfully mine," and hops himself right back into first place with only 7 laps left in this race. I know I said that earlier. My mistake. There was 9 laps at that time. Now there's 7. So with 7 laps left, we have C. Burton in first. The kid following fairly closely behind. And then in third we have Gunslinger, and in fourth we have Reed Likes Boys. Everybody else falls in behind them. Wild Die has made up some ground, and he's, for the first time this race, not in P9. He's passed Gervin, he's in P8, and C. Burton takes it a little bit wide there. Didn't brake in time, went a little bit off track. But as I said earlier, he's good at keeping himself in check, so he was able to keep himself from wrecking and going too far off. And he got right back on and kept going, and kept himself in first place. The Reed Likes Boy still has a penalty by his name, so unless he goes to the pits before the race is over, which I don't think he will. I think that last time that he went to the pits, he too put his soft tires on. He will have that, if it's a time penalty, he'll have it added to his end of the race time. Right now, he's 5 seconds behind Gunslinger in P4. So, with 6 laps left to go, we haven't done it in a little while. Let's just give my voice a rest, give your ears a rest. And listen to the cars. And I say that Reed Likes Boys took a 3-second time penalty because he got too many warnings already, cutting the track, I believe. So now, let's take a listen to these cars and less of me talking. So let's bring it back as C. Burton enters lap 23 of 28 here in the streets of Hanoi, Vietnam. Race 3 of the Sheesh Racing League. Fastest lap just now, Reed Likes Boys took it, 137.6 with the BWT Racing Point team. So he's gaining some speed, he's making some time up. Looks like he's gaining on Gunslinger. And speaking of gaining, C. Burton 91 is gaining on P9 Gerbs, and all goes well for C. Burton here on the long stretch, and it happens, he lapped him. C. Burton, our leader, just lapped Gerbs. That's how far behind Gerbs is, and that's how far ahead C. Burton is. And I believe the Kid and maybe even Gunslinger also passed Gerbs. But I would be wrong in saying that. Gerbs is close behind C. Burton. Not in the standings, of course. Only on the track. C. Burton is far, far ahead of him. And if C. Burton keeps up the pace, who knows? Maybe he can pass Wild Eye. Or lap Wild Eye, rather. The fact that Wild Eye is where he is right now and he isn't in P9 is very surprising to me. Spent most of its time in the pits, and as I say that, Gerbs decides to go in the pits. Maybe he's calling it a race. Maybe he's giving up. I doubt it, though. These guys have a lot of drive and a lot of will to win. And let's go take a peek down at Reed, because he is close behind Gunslinger. He's looking to take third and get that podium spot, and he's going to try for the overtake, but they're coming into a turn that gives Gunslinger the inside. And no, he still pulls it off. Takes a nice overtake going into that turn, into turn 1 it was, and he's back in third with 4 laps to go, 5 seconds behind the Kid. And if he's lucky, and if he can keep racing well, maybe he can pop himself into second. We'll see. But with 4 laps to go, our top 3 right now are C. Burton 91, the Kid, who is currently trying to fix himself. He must have ran into a wall, and Reed passes him. So, the top 3 right now are C. Burton 91, Reed Likes Boys, and Gunslinger. So yeah, the Kid wrecked himself, I believe. Nobody is close enough to wreck him. So now the top 3 are the 2 BWT Racing Point boys and Gunslinger. So the top 3 guys that I mentioned as to being very good are proving me to not be a liar. They're proving me right in saying that. They're in 1, 2, 3. Let's go back up to watching C. Burton on BWT Racing Point. Now, race control, Gerbs just got a 3-second time penalty for exceeded warnings. And that's no help to him as he's already 37 seconds behind Wild Eye in last place. 3 laps to go for Cole Burton, who just passed the finish line yet again. And he's had an incredible race. There haven't been many times today, other than the very beginning, where he was not in first. Most of this race, if you're looking for Cole, you can find him in position 1. So as we're coming toward the end of this race, it appears, yes it is, it's beginning to rain. And with only 3 laps to go, I imagine, unless it really picks up, there won't be any delays. So these drivers are lucky that the weather decided to hold off until now, toward the end, because the rain's starting to come down, which is both going to make the track slick and also lower their visibility. So one more time before the race is over, let's just take a listen to these cars. And before I do, Wild dies in the pits again, as you can see on the left side of your screen. I believe that's the 4th time this race, but it's been the first time in a while. Regardless, as our leader C. Burton goes into the chicane, let's just listen to the music that is these F1 engines. Well, folks, with 2 laps to go and a 17-second lead, C. Burton hits the pits. Let's go down. Oh, I was just about to say let's go down to his teammate Reed, who is in second, but he also heads into the pits. So let's go to P3, Gunslinger, who is still 17 seconds behind Reed, even though he's in the pits. So he has time to make up some ground here, and he hits the pits as well. So maybe there is a rain delay, I am not sure. Maybe these guys are just deciding to change up the tires because of the slick track. That's the more likely option. But I really don't know. So Lucci just suffered a 10-second time penalty for cutting a corner. And Reed is heading out of the pit. C. Burton is already out of the pits, and I believe that's exactly what they were doing. I think C. Burton put hard tires on because of the slickness of the track, which is a very smart decision. And since the race is just coming to an end, not going to affect much. Let's take a look at his teammate Reed. Reed did the same thing. And if we take a look at Gunslinger when he comes out, and even the kid, they're probably all doing the same thing. And Lucci, what happened to him? Well, I don't know, but Lucci is DNF'd. I don't know if he crashed. Perhaps he crashed due to the swiftness of the track. I don't know, but he is out of the race. So there you have it. Wild Die's gonna hop up into P7. We're down to 8 guys left here with 1 lap left. So yes, I was right. It seems that everybody went and put their hard tires on due to the rain. Let's lower their speed quite a bit, but it's going to help their traction and help them to stay in the race and not wreck and potentially injure themselves. So we're back taking a look at Seaburton, and even the visibility for us is getting low. The camera on the TV pod is getting all full of raindrops there. And with a yellow flag coming out in Sector 1, Seaburton crosses the finish line to enter the last lap of the race for him. So, looks like we only have a lap of rain on our screen, which isn't terrible. It's been raining for a little while now, but it's getting worse, which is lowering the visibility for you guys, unfortunately. But as I said, only one lap left that we have to deal with it, so not too bad. And I gotta say, this is a pretty clean race. A few yellow flags came out there different times in the race, but not once did the safety car have to come out, which is always good. These guys followed the rules and kept it clean, didn't wreck anybody, didn't wreck themselves, or Lucy and Slomavnivor may have, but it wasn't enough to warrant a safety car, I guess. So, our top three right now, Seaburton, who just went through that hairpin, followed by his teammate, Relax Boys, both in the BWT Racing Point team, and Gunslinger's in third. I'm not quite sure of the teams. Gunslinger, I want to say, maybe with... No, you know what, I don't want to say anything, because I don't want to get wrong. He is with AlphaTauri, which is what I was thinking, but I was also kind of thinking Mercedes, and I didn't want to say one or the other and get it wrong. So, that will do it for Cole's race. He makes his way past that checkered flag and grabs the win here in Hanoi, Vietnam. And Reed Likes Boys, his teammate, is coming around the final turn. He's about to do the same thing. He does. And then behind him is Gunslinger, who is also just coming in the last few turns here. So, it looks like our top three are Seaburton 91 coming first, Reed Likes Boys coming second, both with BWT Racing Point, and then Gunslinger's going to come in third to represent the AlphaTauri team. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking with me. It was a good race, and that will do it for Sheesh Racing League Race 3 here in Hanoi, Vietnam. So there we see the standings of the race. Reed Likes Boys finishes with the fastest lap, 137.6. And our top three, Seaburton, Reed Likes Boys, and Gunslinger, make the podium. In fourth is Cam M15, and fifth is The Kid, sixth BFG, 7 Wild Die, and 8 Gerbs. Lucien Slomavnivor DNF'd, and July 979 DNF'd as well, I believe. Well, that'll do it for Sheesh Racing League Race 3 in Hanoi, Vietnam. Good night, everybody.